So first we will see what is a LAN, and then we will see what is a VLAN. So these LANs and VLANs are the basic, the constructs of any network. So it's very important to understand the difference between a LAN and a VLAN. So this is going to be very basic networking concepts. So the LAN is nothing but a collection of computers which is used to exchange information between different computers. So in olden days, we used to have a coaxial cable running throughout your office, interconnecting different hosts to form a network. So this used to be called the local area network, or the LAN. So LAN is nothing but an interconnection of network computers so that they can share and exchange information among each other. So the earlier Ethernet LAN was based on a coaxial cable. The coaxial cable is like you have two axials of a cable. You have an interconnector and an outer conductor. And if you wanted to add computers to the LAN, you simply take a T connector, a T junction, and then punch a T connection and join the host to that one. So this used to be called a LAN. So if you wanted to create another LAN, probably maybe for a different department, probably this could be for your sales. And if you wanted to create another LAN for your HR department, you run another cable and attach different hosts to that cable. So this becomes the LAN for sales, and this becomes the LAN for HR, and so on. Instead of running a coaxial cable around your office, we have now the switched network, which is the most popular form of topology. What we saw earlier was the bus topology. Today we have a switched network. The switched network is nothing but you have a switch, a hardware, and switch will have multiple ports or interfaces on it. Typically switches come with 24 ports or 48 ports. Right, so you attach your computers to these ports. So all computers on this particular switch becomes a LAN. So this is basically becomes your local area network, or LAN, for your sales department. And if you wanted to build another LAN for your HR department, probably you will buy another switch and then attach the computers belonging to the HR to this particular switch. So you have two LANs, one LAN for the sales department and another LAN for the HR department. But the problem is, like for example, if this is a 24 port switch and this is a 24 port switch, in your sales LAN you only have maybe 10 hosts attached to the sales LAN. So the remaining 14 ports on this switch is unutilized. Similarly, if you have only like 8 employees in your HR department, only the 8 ports of this port are used and the remaining 16 ports are not utilized. So that's actually a waste of money, a waste of investment. Instead of having two different switches, we break the same switch to have two LANs. Right? For example, certain ports, probably ports number 1 to 12, can belong to the sales LAN, and ports 13 to 24 can belong to the HR LAN. So within the same switch, within the same physical hardware, we now have two LANs. Port numbers 1 to 12 constitute a LAN, which is our sales LAN, and port numbers 13 to 24 constitutes our HR LAN. So here we are maximizing the utilization of the interfaces, because on a single switch, if you have 10 users on sales and 8 users on HR, so 18 ports on the single physical switch is used. And still you have two different LANs, one for the sales and one for the HR. So these two LANs are now called the virtual LANs, or VLANs. So on a single physical infrastructure, you have multiple LANs. In fact, if you want, you can create more VLANs like this. Concept of of the VLAN? Concept of the VLAN is like on one single switch you have multiple LANs, and these VLANs are considered as individual LANs. That is, there is no communication that's going to happen between the computers attached to this VLAN and computers attached to this VLAN by default. There are ways that we can move data from one LAN to the other LAN. We'll talk about that in a different session. But the concept of VLANs, both VLANs are isolated from each other, and by default there is no traffic that goes from one VLAN to the other VLAN. And thanks for watching.